Okay, so our next storyteller has been at the Nature Center quite a few times. When I first came up with the idea for Liars, Thieves, and Chocolate, I happened to see him tell somewhere else, and I don't know why, I just thought that's the perfect guy for this show. So it's wonderful to have him here again, limping up to the stage now. Please welcome John McGee.
It's a whole new meaning to break a leg, right? I know, I stole it. This is Liars, Thieves, and Chocolate. Well, when I think of fish, I put them in three categories. One of three. Food, friend, and fear. When I first went fishing was with my father when I was a young boy. I think if I recall, I was somewhere between 6 and 7. My dad worked for the Montgomery Ward department store, and he brought home a matching set of fishing poles. Now, it had the old black rod on it, and it had a spool type thing that had the little clicker on the back. And he was an expert at this because he was selling the appliances at the time, and he would get people's attention by, he would step on a little rubber weight that he put on the end of it, bend that thing, pop that click, and send it off and put it right in front of him. Bounce it here and there, bounce it into it. He could do this so well. One time, lucked out, but he always tells me he did it on purpose. I never believed. Popped into someone's shirt pocket. He, pow, just like that, you know? So we were going to go fishing. Now, I had never been fishing, so he was going to show me how to cast because he could just whoosh, and there it was. Whoosh. There you go. We went down to the little creek. Now, there's three things you have to understand about those of us who grow in Colorado. There are creeks and rivers and rivulets and all that kind of stuff. So, creek is about yay wide. All right, so the way it works is that you have to go ahead and catch the fish. Well, there wasn't anything in the creek, so we had to go down the stream a ways and into the creek. Now, the creek's a little wider, and it was a little deeper, so we could have fish in this. Now, I enjoy fish to this day, and this is why. Because my dad showed me how to cast. So the first thing I did was I went like, I caught that tree really well. Dad said that counted. It was the first catch. So then he crawled up and got that hook out. Actually snipped the wire, and we put another one on it. So then, Dad's shirt went like this. So finally, the last time, got it out there, and I started reeling it in. We used peanut butter because I was too squeamish to use worms. And I started reeling it in, and reeling it in, and reeling it in, and there was nothing on it. That's not what fishing's about, Dad said. You have to throw it in. Out I went again, reeling it in. Whoa! Caught my first one. Oh, good. Reeling it in. Oh. And you know, it was amazing, because it was about that far from the shore. This is true. I haven't got to the line part yet. No, we had this wonderful salmon. It was the first time I had fresh cooked salmon. And my dad and I had that on the side of the road, or on the side of the bank there. And it was with that fire that day. And to this day, the only one who could ever make fish taste that good is my wonderful wife, Lori. So every time when we sit down to have fish, I always think of my first time when we had, and I went fishing with my father. And that's how I think of fish as food. But I grew up in a small town called Pueblo, Colorado, which is about 100 miles south of Denver. And we had, oh, you know of Colorado?
Boulder.
Yes! About 100 miles south of Denver is a little town called Pueblo, Colorado, and about 4,250 feet, as I recall the altitude. And I lived on the east side of town, and just up the street was the Stone's house. Now, Clifford and Mavis Stone, they lived up there, and they were always those kind of people who wanted to compete with everybody. Now, it was the east side. East side was the, think of it as across the tracks. We were not the wealthy ones. if you wanted to live wealthy, you lived in Belmont, you lived on the south side, you didn't live on the east side. They had enough money because they didn't have to spend money on anything because their house was paid for. So they wanted to beautify their lawn. Okay, it was a stone rock, but they wanted to beautify it. And they decided to put in a koi pond. So they went to the hardware store, they bought all the stuff that they needed to, lined it, and they bought 2 of the nicest koi. Now, at that time I didn't realize how expensive koi were, but they had these 2 beautiful, one red one and one white one, and it was absolutely amazing how they worked them together. And they would look at them and they loved them. Well, those died. It's 110 in Colorado, okay? You just don't. So they bought 2 more. And this time they decided to air condition the water. But they were having a problem with this set too. And I was over there, and I used to go over there, and if you ever hear me, I'll tell you stories about Clifford and Mavis, but they were standing there on the top of the bridge. They built this redwood bridge across the koi pond so you could walk up there. I go, And I walked up and I said, what's going on? Trying to figure it out. I said, what are you trying to figure out? Oh, I can't tell mine from Mavis's, said Clifford. I said, oh. Yeah, well, we put a white dot, we put a dot on the one, and the water washed the ink away. On the other one, we put a ribbon on the tail, and the ribbon just kind of got chewed away. And Mavis said, Cliff, wait! The black one's about 3/4 of an inch longer than the white one. And from then on, they would tell me to me. So I think of fish as friends. But when it comes to fear, there's only one way I think of fish, and that is Hector. It's that kind of fear that you feel when you're the little kid and you got those 100-count Mickey Mouse sheets pulled over you, and you know that those are the only thing that's going to protect you from that monster you know is exactly in that closet, and you have seen it. Or yet, you're number 8 back in the line, and there's only one piece of fudge left on that table, and you know you're not going to get it. This is the kind of fear I'm talking about. You've experienced this. This is about Hector. Hector, when I was in the Navy, of course, now being in the Navy guy, I have to tell a fish story. Being in the Navy, I was on the USS Ajax, AR-6. It was a repair ship, and it was one of the older ones. We were having our tour in the south of the Indian Ocean at the end of the Galapagos Islands at Diego Garcia. Now, if you've never seen Diego Garcia, you look it up on the encyclopedia, Wikipedia, whatever you want to look at, and you look at the aerial view of it, it looks like a footprint. So I always thought that that's where God stepped on something. But you go in, there's a nice little area that we'd come in, and we were going in to relieve the USS Gompers. Now, when you have to relieve a ship, you have to go over to that ship and find out what duties you're going to be doing, and anything that's not been finished, you're going to finish. So this is what we did. I was going over, I was in charge of the valve shop, and I went over to see, and walking down the hallway past the kitchen, I'm going to call it kitchen because I'm not going to go in the Navy terms here, guys. I'm going all right, the mess decks. And, because they do get that way. And so I was walking by, and they have pictures along the wall. And I was looking, there was, guys with their football team, and then there was this picture of this shark. This hammerhead shark had rolled its fin to the side, its eye was looking straight up, and that shark, I can guarantee you, was 22 feet long, and I have a measurement stick. And the way I know this is because you look down from the bow, or the aft end of the boat called, at the aft end of the boat, and the captain's gig, which is the boat that the captain always run on, was sitting out there, and Hector swam between it. The captain gig is 22 feet long. That's how I know. Tail to stern, aft, forward, aft. 22-foot long hammerhead shark. And I said, what's that? Oh, that's Hector. Don't worry about it. The next picture of the 3 that were up there, one was everybody was kind of like this, and the other, then there was Hector, the boat, and the other. We used to fish off the fantail. And we catch things like red snapper and all these kind of wonderful fish and have them for dinner. And this one guy had pulled up this nice thing, and Hector had come up and started to gulp it down and tailed the fins up out of the water, so we were almost 22 feet in the air with this fish. Okay, this was Hector. Now, I said, I've been here twice. I've never seen Hector. How come this? Well, he doesn't really hang around in here. We have a rule. The rule is he stays off our boat, we stay out of his water. Fair enough. But if you want to see him, you go on the outside of the island to the old fishing hole that is no longer there. And we said, really? Right. So we eventually got our curiosity up, and Gary, the cook on my ship, said, let's go on up. So off we went, we trekked across the way to the other side of the island, and there was an old marked out swimming hole. And sitting right in the middle of it, anchored there, was a kind of a faded yellow deep V, 14-foot kind of motorboat type of thing that still had a 65-foot or 65 horsepower Mercury engine on the back, outboard engine sitting up on the back, all rusted and dinged and everything like this. And on the top of it was sitting this wonderful looking pelican. Oh, he looked proud. He was eyeing this herring. It was about 12 and a half, 13 inches of herring right there on the bow of the ship. Odd place for a herring. How many people put herring on the bow of a little ship? Oh, Stork was just looking at it, looking around, started to hop down on there. Picked that. Oh, and it had to be good because he was just savoring that, and all of a sudden the water started churning. It started shuffling, and whoosh, and up came this huge head with a hammer. Whoa! Crunched down that big, huge pelican. The boat, boom, 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 settling up. And turned around and drifted towards us, and when they hopped into that boat, it had the name Hector. About this time, Hector comes back up, looks around. I see his tail flip another herring. There were 4 storks that were gone that day. That, my friends, is where I